I can't really say if this potential fight is going to be a streamer or a no streamer. I've been looking for film footage of Joe Murray, a featherweight from Britain, on YouTube, and I can't find any. But he's supposedly going to fight Lee Selby, who to me is a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. I think he's trained with Roger Mayweather, and he goes across the pond quite a bit to absorb what knowledge he can. And he's a good boxer, good puncher, you know. I've heard Murray's quite a good fighter, but I can't really put a seal on that one. Looking forward to seeing Selby back in action, though. Oville Mackenzie versus Enzo Maccarinelli in a rematch, you know. I mean, you know, so Oville a yard man, so I mean, we are back that. Yeah. This is a no streamer. This is a no streamer. Because Oville, yes, is a journeyman. I'm going to reiterate the point again. There's nothing wrong with calling certain fighters journeymen. I still remember when there was a badge of honor attached to being a journeyman. Because let me tell you how it goes. All right? You get champions, you get contenders, you get prospects, you get journeymen, and you get bums. But what I think happened is some of, and I'm just going to say it straight up, some of the more of you less experienced boxing fans, you seem to think that calling someone a journeyman is calling them a bum. No, it's not the same thing, actually. It's actually not the same thing. To me, a journeyman is a guy who can take a young prospect the full distance, or if he gets stopped late, he's taught him a world of tricks, you know. That's a journeyman to me. He actually has a vital, pivotal role in boxing. Yeah? He's not a bum. And to clarify for somebody out there, I'm not going to put your name out there, Michael Sprott is a journeyman, even if he has won a European title. Yeah? He's a journeyman. It does not mean you are disparaging them. It's only they have a certain amount of losses on their record, and they're often brought in at short notice, you know, so maybe a prospect can roll them over. Now, Oville has scored his fair share of upsets. He's a big puncher, good fighter to watch, but he is a journeyman. And despite him being a journeyman and Enzo's chin not looking the greatest in the last 3 or 4 years, well, you know, I mean, since David Hay tapped it, right? This is a no streamer because the last fight ended very controversially as Ian John Lewis stepped in as Oville broke through with a couple of punches which looked like they could have stunned Maccarinelli. It was hard to tell, but regardless of that, Ian John Lewis jumped in, and he seemed to be in two minds whether he should have done that. But once he committed himself to the stoppage, that was that. The fight was over. So they're having a rematch to settle it out once and for all. And Maccarinelli obviously has the added incentive of wanting to put what happened in the first fight right. Mackenzie wasn't disappointed, but he was a bit disappointed that the commentators were trying to downplay what he'd done in the ring because of the referee. And he correctly cited that when he fought Tony Bellew, it was a far worse situation when the referee stopped that fight. It was a far worse situation. He had decked Bellew twice, you know, and as soon as Bellew got through with a couple of punches, the referee just really wanted to stop that fight. You know what I mean? And Oville wasn't down, and he wasn't hurt that bad. He took a shot. It's boxing. He wasn't hurt that bad. He really wasn't. You know? So, I know in the UK anyway, maybe for not a lot of you guys outside of the loop, I mean, I know some of you guys do follow the domestic shit, but for us This is a no streamer. A no streamer. Fury versus Steve USS Cunningham. No streamer. This is a no streamer. You see, once again, you know, you guys always, you know, yeah, Steve can't punch and he's small and this and that. No, look, you got to weigh up certain things, yeah. This is the first former world champion that Fury has faced, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, as a pro that he's faced. Yeah, Steve was a good cruiserweight champion. He's a good Philly fighter, which means he'll put it all on the line. He's never been stopped. Yeah, he's been dropped, but you know, that's boxing, you know. Man's been on the floor, get back up, and he's still ticking now. That's boxing, yeah. It's only been a year since he was last a world champion. It's not very long, and he surrendered that on points. It was a very heroic effort against Hernandez. The first fight, it looked like Steve was a little unlucky, and here we are. Steve was robbed in his last fight. It's widely recognized that he was robbed against Adamic. Yeah, this is his third fight at heavyweight. Yes, Tyson has a massive reach and height advantage and any other kind of physical advantage. He has it. He has it. But it's still a no streamer. Steve is a former world champion at cruiser, as I've pointed out twice, which might seem like I'm struggling to find reasons to justify the match, but no, he's a good fighter, fast hands, good boxer, power at heavyweight, unproven, and Tyson is expected to win the fight. He is expected to win the fight, but nevertheless, you know, I think the boxing purist is still intrigued to see how he's going to go about doing it, even though he has all of them physical advantages going in youth or whatever. We still want to see how he does it, how he looks. How much has Steve got left in the tank? Is this the reincarnation of his career moving up to heavyweight? This is a big chance for Steve as well. This will be the best conditioned fighter that Tyson Fury has ever faced. Derek Chisora was out of shape when he fought Fury. Steve is always in condition, and he will be in great shape. Yeah. Steve is also the most ambitious opponent that Fury has ever faced. Derek Chisora was out of shape when he faced him, so that hindered his efforts in the ring. Derek was ambitious, but you know, the condition, like, you know. Kevin Johnson only had 2 weeks to prepare, and we saw Kevin when he fought Vitali, which is no easy task, but he just seemed satisfied that he could mess Vitali about and go the distance. You know, he didn't show bags of ambition in that fight. That's not really Steve's game, just trying to go the distance. Steve will try and win. He'll try and win. You know, Steve is genuinely irked that Tyson Fury can come from England over to America into Philly and still think that he's running things. You know, as far as Steve's concerned, he's the dude with all the credentials. You know, Steve isn't going into this fight thinking, yo, I'm up against it. He's up against it. That's how Steve's thinking. You know, Steve's not intimidated by the size. He's not. But him not being intimidated won't stop it being a major factor in how the bout's played out. But he doesn't fear Tyson Fury in terms of he's scared that he's gonna get beaten. No. I didn't see that in the press conference, and I didn't feel that from him when we spoke to him soon after the fight was announced. His speed could be a big factor. You know. And it depends how it plays out. Like, Tyson might have trouble early adjusting to the speed, or the big man might get tired later, and that speed could, you know, could trouble him in the later rounds in terms of scoring points. I don't see Steve scoring concussive shots and budging Tyson You know what I mean? To the point that, you know, he's got to concede ground because he can't take the weight of the shots. I don't see that happening. So don't, if you guys are expecting Steve just to get blown away quickly, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, yeah? That doesn't happen to Nassim Richardson fighters as a rule. I'm not saying it's never happened, you know what I mean? Don't come and say, yeah, this guy got banged down, Nassim was in his corner. No. He's prepared. He's got his good coach, you know, he's got experience, he knows what he's doing, you know. This is a real fight. A no streamer, yeah? And despite being 6 foot north and a whole leap, Tyson Fury is not a concussive puncher. He's not a great big concussive puncher. He isn't, you know. You factor that in, and I don't see... Tyson can fight inside in terms he knows how to throw punches when he's in close, but he's not a mauley fighter. He doesn't really like getting in mauls as such. He likes keeping it at range. He likes using that jab. So is he gonna push Steve all around the ring and maul him? I think it would be a good tactic if he did, for him himself. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure if that's his fight. That would be interesting to see how that plays out. To see if Steve, if he was to choose to do that, how would Steve handle the strength? How does Tyson play this one? Because in many ways he's in a no-win situation. Because having such a size advantage, if he just plays a chess match and wins an uneventful 12-round decision, it's not exactly going to send shockwaves of intimidation through the division. It's not. And if he just gives up his height advantage, which would you would assume make it an easy fight for him, that long left jab, that would be stupid. So how does he play this? See, all these things are factors that are kind of interesting to me. That's why I maintain no streamer. I do. When fighters are accomplished like Steve and Tyson, you can only take weight and size only so far as you can ability, yeah? The biggest threat to me is not Tyson's size to Steve. It's not his power, it's not his size. It's the fact that Tyson is big. Yes, his size is a factor, but he is big, but he boxes like a smaller man in terms of he's not relying on using his size to overwhelm his opponent, even though he has the size, you know. We still genuinely hold out for the possibility that Steve can at least give him a test at this stage of his career. And, you know, there's grounds for that. You know, he was robbed against Adamek, which I've said for the second time, which looks like I'm struggling for points to qualify why it's a no streamer. But it is a no streamer, you know. This is probably the first, apart from Kingpin Johnson, American fighter that, you know, good instincts, fast hands, which I've said already. I mean, knows how to use his feet, good lateral movement. Might not be a power puncher, but he can punch in combination. Steve has experience on his side coming in, you know. He's a product of the Philly gym wars, not in terms that he's been banged up in sparring, but he's been around that environment, you know. These could be crucial factors when the going gets tough. Tyson is an overwhelming favorite, but this fight is a no streamer. It's a no streamer. Channel 5 get the gas face for starting their boxing program, bringing these kids in for the first time they've just readily been able to see boxing on a Saturday, which is a non-school day, and they've just taken it away from them on the eve of Tyson. Like, they promoted how much fights of Tyson Fury's? 4 or 5, yeah? We only had one decent fight. That was the first fight with Chisora. Then he's been put in with these potatoes. Kevin Johnson got 2 weeks notice to fight, and when he does get a decent test, at least on paper, right, in the other man's backyard in Philly, now they've got the American market opened up, they abandon their commitment to showing boxing on terrestrial TV, you know. So they get the gas face for that. But you know something, we don't need them. Peace out. Peace.